I have played a lot of weird games in my time. Some very strange, very bizarre games. But I think dragxdrive has to be towards the top of that mountain post. I think ever since I saw the concept for this game, essentially a wheelchair basketball game, I thought to myself, what kind of drugs were in the room when Nintendo was coming up with this? Was this like an after party and they were all hanging out and they had been, partying all night and somebody shouted this out into existence and, somebody said, oh yeah, that's a really good idea, we should roll with it. And then they realized they had to make a game about this. But dragxdrive is indeed a game. It's coming out very soon. They did an open beta for it this weekend, and I have been checking this out because I don't plan on spending the $20 for dragxdrive, but my curiosity got the best of me. Now, this isn't going to be a full-on hate video or anything like that, more so just an explanation about it, because there were some things that I kind of liked about it. I did have a little bit of fun, but there's so much to wrap your head around with this game. So you start out in the tutorial, and they're essentially breaking everything down because it is a game that requires quite a bit of knowledge on how to play it. Now, you do need to have 2 Joy-Cons to do a single-player experience. So if you want to play with somebody in the room with you, too bad, you better have another set of Joy-Cons. I don't even know if it's going to have local multiplayer, because I guess you would have to split the screen or something like that, but let's just say that it does. You got to have multiple sets of Joy-Cons. And how do you control it? It's exactly how you'd think it would be. So initially I was playing on my desk here. I put both Joy-Cons down and because that's how you got to move. That's how you got to move your wheelchair around the course. And, you do one to kind of turn a little bit, and you could brake with the trigger buttons and stuff, and they're explaining this, and none of this really feels good. None of this really feels like a pick up and play game. Most Nintendo games that are party style games, like you would kind of think this would be, have a very simple jump in and jump out aspect. There is a very steep learning curve with dragxdrive. This isn't something you could just pick up and figure everything out with it right off the jump. And initially, like I said, I was using my desk, but then I moved to my legs, and I realized it actually felt a little bit better on my legs than it did on the desk here. The range of motion wasn't quite as long. To shoot the ball, you take your Joy-Con up and you do a shooting motion. Now, I don't really know. I'm guessing the accelerometer in this is like what constitutes your shooting motion. It's kind of weird if you've played a basketball game or played basketball in real life, because you understand there's different angles, there's different trajectories, you might want to go off the glass or something like that. I didn't really feel like I had too much control in that sense. You do a demonstration game where to get the ball when somebody else has it, you essentially ram them with your wheelchair, which I don't think that's in wheelchair basketball rules. I'm not familiar with the Wheelchair Basketball Association handbook or the Special Olympics or anything like that, but I've never seen that tactic done in order to get the ball. You have your 2-point shots, your 3-point shots. You could do little trick shots and stuff like that. There's like a ramp mechanic going on in the game as well that you can use it to dunk the ball. Once again, not something that I've ever seen in a wheelchair basketball game. Granted, I haven't watched too many, but sometimes when you're watching a sporting event, such as an NBA game, during the halftime show, they will have wheelchair basketball, and it is entertaining to watch. But is it entertaining to play as someone who is not confined to a wheelchair? I guess for some people, it may be. Now, after the tutorial game, you then jump into the online realm of it, where you team up with other people. Of course, since this is a Nintendo game, there is no native voice chat to talk to people. You got a couple emoticons you can use, and, well, when you start playing the game, you kind of realize where the shortcomings are. I feel like The controls are something that, like I said, are on a bit of a steep learning curve, but it's not something that I ever felt like I was really fully in control of. And I'm sure there will be people that will adjust to this game and adapt to this game in a timely manner, and they'll be able to do pinpoint turning and play whatever kind of defense you can. But for me personally, it felt more cumbersome to play this game than actually intuitive. You know, you could be doing your motion controls and trying to do something different while still being fun to play and intuitive. It just felt like the game was working against me for the most part. It was a very low scoring game that I played online. None of my shots were going in. My teammates didn't really seem to understand what the hell they were doing. I mean, it was kind of fun. I did show a little emotion when I thought maybe we could win, and then we didn't win, but how much of that was me actually enjoying the game versus me just wanting to win because I'm a psychopath? Now, the game does seem to have a couple of tricks up its sleeve with the different sort of things you can do in it. There's like obviously some side quest stuff that you could do in the game as well that you don't really have access to right off of the jump, and I'm sure some more will be included in it. But I think my biggest problem with dragxdrive is just the lack of any sort of personality. You could say that Nintendo has done some weird and quirky games before in the past, and I would 100% agree with you. But all of those weird and quirky games have some sort of memorable aspect to them. Think about a game like ARMS. ARMS in and of itself was kind of a weird concept and a weird idea, but it had personality, it had characters, it had things that you could identify with. One of the strangest games Nintendo has ever done was Rusty's Real Deal Baseball on the Nintendo 3DS. It was weird as hell, but Rusty was an identifiable character. He's someone that, I mean, I recognize, and, you know, as my tribal chief, and, you know, at least there was some personality. This game feels very sterile. It feels very devoid of any personality. The court looks mechanical. Your characters look mechanical. There's no Nintendo flair. There's no pizzazz. There's no personality to really anything in the game. And I'm not quite sure that this game, dragxdrive, will have the legs, no pun intended, arms, legs, you know, you can kind of make it there. I'm not quite sure that this game is going to have any sort of longevity because it doesn't have that Nintendo sparkle to it. If there was some sort of stuff like you know, Mario courts and Zelda courts, and you had like skins that you could do to outfit your character and change the ball and stuff like that. And maybe there will be some stuff like that in the final version of the game, but I just don't see that happening with this. I feel like ARMS or dragxdrive is what we are seeing. And yes, there'll be some additional courts. There'll be some sort of customization that you could do, but it's all going to be very surface level stuff. I don't foresee any sort of throwbacks to other Nintendo franchises. So as I played this game, like, I don't think it's the worst thing ever. You know, it's not something that a lot of people are going to want to constantly play because of the wide range of motions that you have to do and the pinpoint precision needed within the controls, which is easier said than done. But I do feel like it's just missing something. I'm not buying this game. The demo was fine enough for me. It pretty much confirmed everything I felt leading up to this game. Why the fuck does this exist? Why? But maybe you're a big dragxdrive fan and you'll be in some competitions for it or something. I salute you if you are. I'm sure Ricky Berwick's going to be a freaking king at this game. Let me know in the comment section down below. Did you check out the beta? And if so, what you thought about it? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this little Sunday video. A little Sunday fun day here on the channel. And as always, if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe. Be sure to ring the bell as well. Be sure to like the video, leave a comment, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.